Hi, welcome back. Let's now go to piecewise defined functions. Define muna natin ito. A piecewise defined function, also called a split function, is a function that is defined by different expressions in different parts of its domain. For example, is this function f of x, which is defined differently if x is less than or equal to 0 and if x is greater than 0. If x is non-positive, it is negative 2, otherwise it is 3. Para mas magets natin itong function na to, tingnan natin ano si f of 1. So 1 is definitely greater than 0, kaya ang f of 1 mo should be 3. What about f of negative 3? Negative 3 is definitely less than 0, so dito tayo sa first condition. So f of negative 3 should be negative 2. And finally, what is f of 0? Saang condition tayo ngayon? Dito sa una. So f of 0 is negative 2. Next, let us look at the graph of this function. Sabi, when x is less than or equal to 0, ang graph mo ay y equals negative 2. So, it's just the line y equals negative 2, including, of course, the point 0, negative 2. On the other hand, if x is greater than 0, it is the line y equals 3, and we exclude the point 0, 3. Because when x is 0, it is not f of x is not 3, but negative 2. Okay? And from here, it is easy to see what is the domain. F of x is well defined everywhere, so that domain is the set of real numbers. What about the range? There are only two possible values for f of x, namely negative 2 and 3. So that is precisely your range, the set containing negative 2 and 3. Alright, for another example, let's have this piecewise defined function f of x, which is equal to x minus 3 if x is less than 1, and x squared minus 4x plus 4 if x is greater than or equal to 1. And let us sketch this graph. Okay? Sketch natin ito. Start tayo if x is less than 1. So, if x is less than 1, what do we sketch? We sketch the line y equals x minus 3. So, this is a linear equation. Kaya yung graph nito ay line. So, if x is less than 1, ang graph ni f ngayon ay line or a portion of a line. So, in sketching a line, what do we need? We need 2 points. So, hanap lang tayo ng 2 puntos sa line na ito. Paano natin hahanapin yon? Sabi, it is x minus 3 if x is less than 1. So, kuha tayo ng x less than 1. Ano yung pinakasimple? 0. So, when x is 0, ano yung f of 0? It is 0 minus 3 or 3 or negative 3. So, that 0, negative 3 is a point on the graph. Okay? What about when x equals, try naman natin si 1. Ano si y? Dito, from here, it's 1 minus 3 or negative 2. So, we have the point 1, negative 2. However, please take note, ano si f of 1? F of 1 natin ay, saan siya nagfo-fall? Dito na sa second condition. So, ito yung gagamitin nating definition kay f. We have 1 squared minus 4 times 1 plus 4. So, you have 1 minus 4 plus 4, or 1. Ibig sabihin si f of 1 equal kay 1. So, ang partner ni 1 dapat 1 din. So, this point 1, negative 2, although this is a point on the line y equals x minus 3, this is not a point on the graph of f. So, this should be a hole on the graph. So, ano yung tinutukoy natin? Atin na silang i-plot. So, you have 0, negative 3. 0, negative 3. Sure ka na point yan sa graph ni f. Kaya, you plot it. Tapos, you have 1, negative 2. 1, negative 2. Sabi natin, ang partner talaga ni 1, hindi naman si negative 2 eh. So, ito dapat ay whole lang. Okay? Importante pa rin yan kasi you need to sketch the line y equals x minus 3. At para ma-sketch yon, you need to connect the 2 points. Okay? So, connecting 2 points, you have this line. So, when x is less than 1, ang graph ni f of x, etong line na to. So, it's the portion of the line y equals x minus 3. Okay? Next, if x is greater than or equal to 1 naman, what do we sketch? We sketch this parabola y equals x squared minus 4x plus 4. So, sinabi ko na, no, our graph is a parabola or a portion of a parabola. Okay? In sketching a parabola, we need 3 points, namely the vertex. And I leave it to you to verify that the vertex of this parabola is 2, 0. And we need another 2 points. When x is 1, ano yung f of 1 natin? Na-solve na natin yan kanina, it's 1. So, we have 1.11. And let's find another point. Ano yung x na pipiliin natin? Tingin tayo sa ating condition, no? This holds only if x is greater than or equal to 1. So, kuha tayo ng mas malaki kay 1, say 3. Ano ngayon si f of 3? It's a 3 squared minus 4 times 3 plus 4. That's 9. Minus 12 plus 4, you get 1. So, another point is the point 3, 1. And let us sketch our parabola. Plot muna natin yung mga importanteng points. Alin yon? Yung vertex 2, 0. This point. The 2 points on the parabola, namely 1, 1. This point. And the point 3, 1. So, this point. And then, we connect them. Tapos, take note natin na ang fino-form natin ay parabola. So, pag kinonnect natin, ganito dapat. Ayan. So, that is your graph of f. So, sa kaliwa ni 1, it is a line. Sa kanan ni 1, it is a portion of a parabola. Ito ngayon ang itsura ng ating graph. At let us observe ano yung domain ngayon ng function natin. This is well-defined everywhere naman. So that domain is the set of real numbers. The range on the other hand is, so may y values natin, no? Lahat ng nasa baba ng negative 2, excluding negative 2. Tapos nag-jump mula kay 0 pataas. Okay, so this is your range. Okay? Now, let us define the absolute value function. Recall that the absolute value of x is x if x is greater than or equal to 0, and it is negative x if x is less than 0. Ano yung graph nito? Ito, no? Yung parang letter V na symmetric about the y-axis. And dito makikita natin ang domain ay, this is well-defined for any real number. Pero ano yung range? It's from 0 pataas. So, the interval 0 to positive infinity. Okay? Now, let us try to sketch this graph. F of x equals absolute value of x plus 2. Gawin natin yan. Okay? So, paano natin ito gagawin? We recall first ano yung definition natin ni absolute value of x plus 2. So, this is absolute value. This is either retained nasa loob or negated yung nasa loob. Kailan to retained? Kapag yung buong nasa loob ay greater than or equal to 0. At ito naman ay negated kapag yung buong nasa loob ay less than 0. So, it's x plus 2 or negative of x plus 2. Simplify natin to, isolate natin si x. So, i-move natin si 2 sa kabila. What we'll have is x greater than or equal to negative 2 and x less than negative 2. Okay? So that if x is greater than or equal to negative 2, what do we sketch? We sketch the line y equals x plus 2. And this should not be difficult. Paano natin ito? Line lang to, so we just need 2 points. Kuha tayo ng isang x. Si negative 2 na yung kunin natin. When x is negative 2, ano yung y? You have 0. So that when x is negative 2, ang partner niya ay 0, that's a point on the line, that's negative 2, 0. What's another point? Kuha ulit tayo ng x, dapat daw greater than negative 2. 0 na lang, mas pataas naman kay negative 2 eh. When x is 0, ano si y? It's 0 plus 2 or 2, so that you have the point 0, 2, 0, 2. And then you connect the 2. Connect the 2 points to form a line. Oops, sorry. Draw. Connect the 2 points. Okay, so yan. Yan. Okay? That's for x plus 2. Now, if x is less than negative 2, ang i-sketch naman natin ay y equals negative x minus 2. This is again a line, so we just need 2 points. Since x is less than negative 2, kuha tayo ng mas maliit kay negative 2. Say negative 4. When x is negative 4, so x is negative 4. Ano si y? It's y equals negative of negative 4 minus 2, or 4 minus 2, or 2. So you have the point negative 4, 2. The point negative 4, 2. What's another point? When x is negative 2, ano si y? It's negative of negative 2 minus 2. 2 minus 2 or 0. So etong point na to. Tapos, connect lang natin silang dalawa. Connecting the two, we form this line. And this is the graph of your f of x equals absolute value ng x plus 2. Okay? Tingnan natin ang graph. Ito ang graph niya. Ang domain nito ay set of all real numbers at again, ang range ay set of all non-negative real numbers. Okay? Now, let's go to the greatest integer function. This is the function denoted as such, where this is the largest integer less than or equal to x. Halimbawa, hanapin daw natin ang GIF ni 1. So, ano ang greatest integer less than or equal to 1? 1 is already an integer, so this should be 1. What about the GIF of 3.7? Ano yung pinakamalaking integer na mas maliit kay 3.7? It's 3. What about the GIF of 0.2? What is the greatest integer less than or equal to 0.2? That is 0. What about the GIF of negative 0.2? Ano yung pinakamalapit na integer na nasa kaliwa ni negative 0.2? It's negative 1. And find the GIF of negative 1.1. Greatest integer less than or equal to negative 1.1. This time is negative 2. Okay? So let's have the following remark. Sabi, if n is an integer, then for every x in R daw, which satisfies this one, ibig sabihin si x sandwiched between the consecutive integers n and n plus 1, kung saan si x is strictly less than the upper bound, then ang GIF ni x ay yung lower bound na integer. Okay? Para ito ay mas ma-illustrate natin, let's have the following example or illustration. So you have n. So this, let's say this is the number line, and this is n, and this is n plus 1. Magkasunod silang integer, no? Consecutive integer, and you have x in between them. Tingnan muna natin yung GIF ni n. Ano yung greatest integer less than or equal to n? N is an integer, so n din yan. What about the GIF of n plus 1? What is the greatest integer less than or equal to n plus 1? Integer sa n plus 1, so n plus 1 din yan. What about the GIF of x? Si x between n tsaka n plus 1. So, sure ka na si x ay something in the form n point something something, no? So, ano yung pinakamalapit na integer kay x na nasa kaliwa niya? It's n. So, yun yung sinasabi niya, no? Pag si x sandwiched between two consecutive integers, tapos strictly less than siya sa upper bound, then yung GIF niya, yung lower bound na integer. Okay? So, using that remark, if x is between negative 2 and negative 1 consecutive integers, ano yung GIF ni x? Itong mas maliit, yung negative 2. What about if x is between the consecutive integers negative 1 and 0? Ano yung GIF ni x? Itong mas maliit. What about if x is between 0 and 1? Ano ang GIF ni x? It's 0. Pag x is in this interval, GIF of x ay itong 1. Kapag x is in this interval, ang GIF ni x ay 2. And so on and so forth. So we can rewrite this and say that the GIF of x is the following piecewise defined function. So it's negative 2 if x is in this interval. It's negative 1 if x is in this interval. And so on and so forth. So anong graph nito? Hindi to mahirap i-graph, no? Kasi if x is between negative 2 and negative 1, line lang siya na y equals negative 2. Kapag x is between negative 1 and 0, siya yung line na y equals negative 1. So, pag ginaf natin yan, nagbumukha siyang ladder. No? Mukhang hagdan. Tapos, sa kaliwa, may filled yung hole. Sa kanan, hollow siya. Dahil dun sa inequality natin. Okay? Na dito is strict inequality. Okay? So, using the graph, or observing the graph, ano ngayon yung domain ni f? Clearly, it's the set of all real numbers, no? For any real number, yung GIF of x well-defined. Ano ngayon yung range? Ang range niya, ano lang? It's either negative 4, negative 3, negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, so on and so forth. So, ano yung mga yun? Integers. So, ang range nito ay set of integers. Okay? As an example, let us graph f of x equals GIF of x plus 2. And for this, let us recall yung remark natin kanina that if x is sandwiched between two consecutive integers such that it is strictly less than the upper bound, then yung GIF ni x mo, yung mas maliit. So that if x plus 2 sandwiched between negative 1 and 0, strictly less than 0, kapag kinuha mo yung GIF ni x plus 2, ano yan? It's negative 1. Hence, if x, eto, isolate natin si x dito sa gitna, so ang gagawin mo, magma-minus ka ng 2 sa lahat ng sides, so mag-minus ka ng 2 dito, you have negative 1 minus 2, negative 3, and then mag-minus ka ng 2 dito, so you have negative 2. So, ito equivalent to saying that x is greater than or equal to negative 3 but less than negative 2, then yung GIF ni x plus 2 mo ay negative 1. But that's your f of x, so f of x is negative 1. Similarly, kapag si x plus 2 sandwiched between 0 and 1, then yung GIF ni x plus 2 ay, etong mas maliit, no? Si 0. At itong inequality na ito ay equivalent lang sa inequality na x greater than or equal to negative 2 but less than negative 1. So, if this holds, yung GIF ni x plus 2 o yung f of x natin ay 0. Similarly, if x plus 2 is sandwiched between 1 and 2, then ang GIF ni x plus 2 ay 1. Hence, if x is greater than or equal to negative 1 but less than 0, this is equivalent to this inequality, then ang f of x natin ay 1. Continuing this process, we have another one. If x plus 2 is greater than or equal to 2 but less than 3, ano yung GIF natin? It's 2. Hence, if x is within this interval, then f of x is 2. Okay? And, continue lang, so on and so forth. Therefore, ano na ngayon yung graph ng ating function? Sabi natin kanina, it is negative 1 if x is greater than or equal to negative 3 but less than negative 2. So kapag nandito sa interval na ito, ang itsura niya ay y equals negative 1. Including itong point na to, excluding itong point na to. Sinabi din natin na it is 0 if x is within this interval. That's why we have this graph. Next, it is 1 if x is between negative 1 and 0. So y equals 1. And y equals 2 if x is between 0 and 1, excluding 1. Tapos so on and so forth. So, continue nyo lang yan sa taas at sa baba. And this is the graph of your function GIF of x plus 2. Okay? Alright? So, here, ano yung domain ng function natin? It is the set of all real numbers. And what about the range? Ang range natin, again, yung mga integers lamang. Okay? For our final example, let us sketch the graph of this piecewise defined function. Okay? Sketch natin to. Paano natin to gagawin? I-note natin that if x is between negative 3 and negative 1, excluding the endpoints, but x is not equal to negative 2, ano nga yung f of x natin? It is x squared plus 3x plus 2 over x plus 2. Pero itong taas, pwede natin i-factor as x plus 2 times x plus 1. So we have x plus 2 times x plus 1 all over x plus 2. X is not equal to negative 2. Ibig sabihin si x plus 2 hindi 0. So pwede mo i-cancel out sa x plus 2. Ang matitira sa'yo ay x plus 1. Lagay natin dito sa gilid. Therefore, etong x squared plus 3x plus 2 over x plus 2, pwede nating palitan ng x plus 1 na lang. And this is true if x is between negative 3 and negative 1, excluding negative 2. So, ito napalitan natin, no? Naging mas simple. Okay, next, ang palitan naman natin, itong pangalawang function. Kasi GIF to eh. Okay? Ang GIF, alam natin, piecewise defined function. So, palitan natin yan. Okay, before that, let us recall. Kanina ko pa sinasabi, no? Kapag si x sandwiched between two consecutive integers, such that strictly less than siya sa upper bound, ano ngayon ang GIF ni x? Yung mas maliit, so n. Okay? So, meron ka lang definite value ng GIF kapag si x mo sandwiched between two consecutive integers. Ngayon, sa ating condition, x is between negative 1 and 1. Ang negative 1 and 1, hindi consecutive integers. Meron pang integer sa gitna nila. Ano yon? Yung 0. So, ang gawin natin, hatiin natin yan. Hatiin natin sa 0. So, consider natin yung x greater than or equal to negative 1 but less than 0. At yung x greater than or equal to 0 but less than 1. Okay? So, hinati lang natin to. Okay. Kapag nanditong interval, anong mangyayari sa GIF of x? So, sandwiched between two consecutive integers, ano yung GIF of x? Etong mas maliit. So, you have negative 1 plus 1 or 0. Dito naman sa pangalawa, ano ngayon ang GIF of x sandwiched between 0 and 1? So, ang GIF of x is 0. So, you have 0 plus 1. If you add, it's 1. Okay? So, itong GIF of x plus 1, nahati natin sa dalawa pang cases. It is either 0 or 1. When is it 0? If x is between negative 1 and 0, excluding 0, including negative 1. And it is 1 if x is between 0 and 1. Okay? So, itong una at pangalawa, na simplify natin sa tatlong ito. Ito naman ang galawin natin yung pangatlo. Okay, recall natin ano ang definition ni absolute value of x minus 5. This is either retained or negated. Kailan totoo itong una? If yung buo ay greater than or equal to 0. At kailan ito negated? If yung buo ay less than 0. And then let us just simplify. Negative x plus 5. If isolate natin si x, so lipat si negative 5. If x is greater than or equal to 5. If x is less than 5. Okay? Ngayon, ang condition kasi natin, x is between 1 and 7. Pero dito, nagkakaroon ng difference na i-split yung values no, when x is 5. So, ang gagawin natin, split din natin ito when x is 5. So, that will have two more possible restrictions or conditions. Una, wala ditong equal sign. So, if x is greater than or equal to 1 but less than 5, or if x is greater than or equal to 5 but less than 7. Less than or equal to 7. So, etong x between 1 and 7, hinati lang natin sa dalawang ito. Okay, burahin nga natin. Burahin lang natin yung equals. Yan. Okay? Bakit natin hinati? Kasi if x is less than 5, according here, ano yung ipapalit natin sa ating absolute value? It's the negative of x minus 5 or negative x plus 5. And if x is greater than or equal to 5, ang ipapalit natin ay x minus 5. So, this is now your, ano na to? Ito na yung function natin. Ito na yung f of x. From here, mas sumimple, no? Although mas dumami yung restrictions, yung mga functions na ito, madali na lang i-graph, no? This is a line. All of them are lines. Okay? So, i-graph na natin yan. Copy natin. Okay? Alright, so let's graph this one. Unang-una, graph natin yung line x plus 1. So, how do we graph that? Kuha tayo ng dalawang points. Sa endpoints na lang yung negative 3 tsaka negative 1. When x is negative 3, ano si f of x? It's negative 3 plus 1 or negative 2. So, we have the point negative 3, negative 2. So, you have this point. It's the point negative 3, negative 2. What about when x is negative 1? Ano naman yung partner niya? It's negative 1 plus 1 or 0. So, you have the point negative 1, 0. It's negative 1, 0. And then you connect the 2 points. To form a line. And is this the graph of x plus 1? Yes, this is the graph of x plus 1, pero this is not the graph of your function in this interval. Kasi, take note, x should not be equal to negative 2. But when x is negative 2, ano yung ating function value? It's negative 2 plus 1, so it's negative 1. So, yung point negative 2, comma negative 1, alin yun? Ito, negative 2, comma negative 1, ito. That should be a whole. Kasi hindi kasama Hindi kasama si x equals negative 2. Okay? So, line na may hole sa gitna. Alright. Next. If x is between negative 1 and 0 daw, it's the line y equals 0. So, kapag between negative 1, including negative 1, excluding 0, ito lang siya. Horizontal line lang. Next, if x is between 0 and 1, including 0, excluding 1, it's just the line y equals 1. So, ito ay whole lang din. Kasi excluding 1 Okay? Next, if x is between 1 and 5, including 1, excluding 5, it's align negative x plus 5. Paano natin makukuha itong graph na ito? Kuha lang ulit tayong 2 points, yung endpoints na lang. So, when x is 1, ano yung function value natin? It's negative 1 plus 5. So, you have 1, 4. 1, 4, you have this point. And this is a field. And ano pa? When x is 5, what you'll have is negative 5 plus 5 or 0. So, you have the point 5, 0. Here, 5, 0. Pero hollow to, no? Kasi sa condition na to, baka hindi, baka nalilito kayo. Wala tong equal sign, ha? Walang equal sign. Okay. So, when x is 5, it's, ang partner is 0, so that the point 5, 0, hindi included, no? So, hollow dapat. Hollow. And then you connect the 2 points. So, this is the point 5, 0. Connecting the 2 point, what will we get? We get this line. Okay? And finally, i-graph naman natin yung x minus 5. This is again a line. You need 2 points. When x is 5, ano yung partner niya? It's 5 minus 5 or 0. Ibig sabihin yung 5, 0, after all, is a point on the graph. So, kahit hollow ito, dahil dito na, kasama naman siya dito sa last condition, i-fill na natin ito. Okay? And finally, when x is 7, ano naman yung partner natin? It's 7 minus 5, that's 2. So, you have the point 7, 2. So, this point, pangalanan lang natin, this is 7, 2. And then, you connect the 2 points. Connecting the 2 points, you complete your graph. So, this is the graph of f. Para siguro may mas maganda kayong reference. Yan. This is the graph of our function f. And from here, it is clear ang domain ay mula sa negative 3 hanggang 7, excluding of course yung x equals negative 2. At ano yung range? Mula sa negative 2 hanggang 4, excluding y equals negative 1. Okay? And that completes our second lecture. That's it for today. Goodbye.